Hello everyone, back again with blockbuster recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the actions, drama, and adventure films from 2022, titled Troll. Before we get to the storyline, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie. Tobias travels with his daughter Nora to the Romsdalen Mountains in Norway to see the troll peaks. According to the fairy tale, 13 trolls gathered here for a wedding, but after drinking too much, they lost all sense of time and transformed into mountains. Nora believes she is too mature for fairy tales at this time, and Tobias is hurt to hear that. However, he reminds her that she has to believe in something to be able to see it. 20 years later, Nora is an archaeologist leading her team on a digging expedition along northwestern Norway's Atlantic coast. Since they haven't found anything in 6 months and their resources are running low, most of them are prepared to give up, but Nora is tenacious and keeps searching. Finally, she finds a dinosaur skull due to her perseverance, which the crew celebrates. A construction crew is now constructing a new railway tunneling through the Dovre Mountains. Activists opposed to such environmental degradation have drawn much attention to this, yet their presence is disregarded. When the tunnel is finally opened by detonating the explosives, something in the mountains below growls and sends a collapse into which not all of the workers can escape in time. The Norwegian military forces are alerted to this incident and the resulting seismic activity, and they quickly dispatch a reconnaissance aircraft to investigate. Sigrid, overseeing the cameras on those aircraft, immediately compiles several images to show her superiors, who determine that this is significant enough to tell Prime Minister Barrett. On her journey to the base, Barrett is informed of the extensive devastation wrought by unknown forces and shown the photographs they captured, which resemble footprints in Andreas' opinion. Barrett finds it amusing but unrealistic and gives Andreas 2 tasks: to keep the press away from this information and to see some scientific experts help them with this problem. Moments later, a helicopter picks up Nora in the middle of her celebration, asking her to come with her to see a matter of national security. Andreas welcomes Nora to the base and takes her to a secret meeting where Barrett, the most important military leader, and a few other scientists discuss the possible reasons behind the incident in the mountains. Nora isn't taken very seriously when she presents as a paleontologist because dinosaurs are extinct. Therefore, they couldn't have been the cause of this. While the team doesn't reject the possibility of a military attack from another country yet, the reports seem to favor the theory of the cause being geological. Pictures on the screen show a crater and indentations on the landscape, prompting scientists to throw views like sinkholes or subterranean gas pockets. Nora interrupts them to point out those craters are footprints, but again, she isn't taken seriously because footprints would mean monsters, which is a stupid idea. Another interruption comes from Sigrid, who hacked into one of the activists' phones and found live footage of the incident. The destruction is disturbing to watch, but before the others can go back to their gas theories, Nora makes Sigrid play the video again, more slowly this time. There's a roaring sound in the background, similar to an animal, and in the shadows among the falling rocks, there's a vast and mysterious humanoid shape. Meanwhile, in Lesja, an old married couple wonders what's gotten into their dog, who won't stop barking. Suddenly, the entire house starts shaking, so the couple runs to hide in their basement before everything starts to crumble and the power goes out. Once the shaking stops, the couple finds their house destroyed, although the dog is at least okay. Back in the base, the leaders still refuse to believe some giant creature could have left the footprints, and Nora points out that whatever it is, they need to take action against it instead of sitting on their butts and arguing for hours. Barrett is impressed by her attitude and makes Nora the official scientific advisor. Then she's asked to go with Andreas to Lesja to check out the latest incident. On the helicopter, Andreas asks Nora how she became a paleontologist, so Nora tells him she's loved nature since she was a child. Her kitty love for fairy tales evolved into wanting to look for the real monsters underground. Unfortunately, her mom died when she was 10. Her dad was a professor of origin mythology and folklore, but the older he became, the less he could distinguish between reality and fiction. This is why Nora hasn't seen Tobias in years. Andreas confesses he wants to be a writer. He is excited about the possibility of this incident having supernatural causes, but Nora cuts him off when they arrive at their destination, shocked by the damage to the landscape. The military is already securing the area. Nora is welcomed by Captain Christopher, who shows them the tracks that came from across the river and into the valley, then makes it 2 miles south into the mountains before simply stopping. The soldiers did a full sweep of the area but found no other clues. Nora asks the old couple some questions, but they don't get to see much because a giant moving figure is blocking the sun. They did hear something, though, a loud howling that sounded like a sorrowful melody. Afterward, Nora takes a closer look at the damage and notices a strange and pungent smell that she calls hypernature. She also uses UV light to look for biological traces, but finds nothing other than earth and stones. Nora asks to be taken to the place where the tracks suddenly stop, and the thermal scanner shows no signs of life, only mountains. Since this creature is too big to hide or disappear, Nora wonders if it can camouflage. Nora's starting to come up with some theories, but she is still unsure, so she takes Christopher and Andreas to see Tobias, who comes out with a firearm when he sees strangers on his property, especially an armed soldier. After Nora makes him realize this is the daughter he hasn't seen in years, Tobias accepts to let them in, although he'll have to put on some pants first. Tobias' house is filled with paper clips and research that show his obsession with finding a mythical creature known as a troll. Nora stops him from talking about all his theories about trolls being authentic and the witnesses being silenced, and asks him to concentrate on the footage she proceeds to show him, explaining she thinks his old work may have some clues. After all, nobody knows these mountains better than him. However, Tobias thinks this footage proves his troll theory is accurate. When Nora points out scientists would have already found troll DNA if they existed, Tobias reminds her that the Christianization of Norway got rid of all the mythical creatures. When he was about to reveal it all, Tobias was sent to the loony bin. He thinks the people in charge have always known, and fairy tales were written to make trolls look evil and dumb when they are pretty smart. Nora can't believe what she's hearing, but Tobias is too excited for objections and joins the team to continue the investigation. When they arrive at the area where the tracks stop, Tobia immediately notices that the topography is all wrong and doesn't match the maps. He also points out this is like being on an adventure together again with his daughter, but Nora doesn't want this to be some kind of reconciliation. Suddenly, the smell of hypernature hits their noses, and the sky darkens as the mountain behind them opens an eye. It turns out both father and daughter had been correct. The creature is indeed a troll, and its ability to camouflage has allowed him to pretend to be part of the mountain, explaining why the topography was wrong. The troll stands up, showing its muscular body and roaring at them. Thus, the team runs back to the helicopter to get away. They still manage to get the troll on camera, though, and when the base receives the transmission, they can't deny the truth any longer. Christopher takes the group to his military camp to call the base to inform them of what they've learned. Nora continues to use the words unknown creature not to look crazy. Still, Tobias interrupts her to tell everyone that it's a troll that got bothered by the construction in the mountains, which Tobias considers a mockery of nature. The leaders consider him to be crazy and kick him out, but when Nora asks for more time, she isn't heard either. They're worried about the safety of their country, so they'll go ahead and prepare a military operation. Afterward, Nora is furious with her dad for ruining it all and wants to leave, but Tobias changes her mind when he explains he knows this isn't a fairy tale. Now it's just a matter of convincing Christopher to take them with him. He at first turns them down, but after some begging from Nora, he accepts to hide the trio in his helicopter as long as they promise to follow his orders. But unfortunately, night has fallen over Heidel by the time the whole military operation makes it there. While waiting for the troll to appear, Tobias and Nora remember the old fairy tales they used to share during their adventures, and the two finally reconcile. The troll shows up a moment later, but when he gets close enough, he stops moving, and Tobias is sure the creature knows they're there. So the soldiers open fire on the troll, ignoring Tobias' warnings that it'll only make him angry. Still, the bullets and the explosions do nothing and only cause it to attack back, just like Tobias predicted. Everyone begins running away as the troll destroys everything in its path, including the cameras that were transmitting the operation to the main base. The team hides behind a tree with a wounded soldier, and when they're about to move away, the troll reaches down and grabs the soldier to eat it. Tobias explains the troll probably smelled the blood from the soldier's wounds. Nora, Andreas, and Christopher want to run away, but Tobias decides to approach the troll and try a friendly approach. To everyone's shock, the troll stops moving and answers Tobias' gentle words with quiet groans, but unfortunately, not all the soldiers got the memo. A truck opens fire on the troll again, and when the creature turns around to counterattack, it accidentally hits Tobias. As the troll walks away, Nora rushes to her father's side, and Tobias mumbles the words "the palace, the king, home," asking his daughter to remember to believe before he dies. When they return to the base, Nora keeps herself busy looking over Tobias' research to forget the pain and look for a solution. When Andreas and Christopher come to check on her, they inform her they've lost sight of the troll for now, but the army is getting ready for an airstrike. Nora thinks this attack will have the same result as the first one, meaning they need to think outside the box. The fairy tales say trolls don't like sunlight, but they've seen this one come out in daylight. The other clue they have is Tobias' mention of how the trolls were destroyed by the Christianization of Norway, which gives Nora an idea. Finally, they contact Barrett and the others to explain that stories say trolls used to throw boulders at churches when they heard the bells, which means bells are what they need to use. The leaders think this is ridiculous, so Christopher has to cut in to remind them nothing has worked so far, and they need alternatives. Thus, Barrett reluctantly permits them to carry on the plan. The troll reappears moments later, coming closer to the Hundefossen family park and causing massive panic among the crowd. As everyone begins running away except for a little girl who wants to watch the creature, Christopher and Nora show up in a helicopter, guiding a whole hover carrying giant bells. They surround the troll with these bells as they make them ring, and Nora turns out to be correct. However, the sound does hurt the troll's ears. However, the troll also doesn't hesitate to attack to defend himself, hitting the helicopters and making them crash. When one is about to fall on top of the little girl, the troll surprisingly grabs the helicopter to save her before it walks away. Since this happened in such a public location, now the whole world knows about the troll and the fact it's making its way to the capital city. Newscasts from every country cover the incident, and phone-recorded clips go viral on social media. When the team returns to the base, a furious Barrett ignores Nora when she points out the bells did work, so they should try again from a different angle, and kicks her out of the base. On her way out, Nora bumps into Christopher, who confesses he thinks Barrett is making a mistake and will be there for Nora if she ever needs anything. In the conference room, the military leaders tell Barrett about some dangerous missiles that haven't been officially approved yet. Barrett can't believe she didn't know about this, and Andreas points out that such weapons shouldn't even be considered, but this only gets him kicked out of the room. Seeing as he won't be taken seriously, he decides to quit and rejoin Nora on his way out, telling her to get ready because they're evacuating the city. Moments later, Barrett appears on TV, officially announcing a state of emergency and asking all the citizens to collaborate as their soldiers take over to prepare for the next operation and help them evacuate without issues. Nora and Andreas are in the same car and get stuck in traffic, so Nora uses this time to keep looking at Tobias' research. The pages keep mentioning Sinding and something about a gatekeeper, which prompts Andreas to comment it could be Rickard Sinding, the Lord Chamberlain at the royal palace. Nora suddenly remembers Tobias mentioning King Palace, home before his death, and concludes they need to go to the royal palace. Andreas drives them there, and the guards at the gate stop them, but Sinding immediately comes to let them in because he expects Tobias or someone related to him to show up sooner or later. Sinding explains he respected Tobias, even if Tobias hated him, and his stubbornness allowed him to be one of the few people that discovered the secret underneath the palace. In the old times, it was considered good luck to build a palace on top of another king's home, and it turns out this particular palace has been created where the troll can use to live. Nora and Andreas are taken to a tunnel full of troll bones as Sinding explains that the Christianization of Norway killed everything that went against their faith. They ambushed the royal troll family and only spared one baby to lure the king into the mountain. There, they locked it inside a cavern and left it for dead. 12 years ago, Tobias found out about all this, and Sinding sent him to the loony bin to guard the secret. He feels terrible about that, but still considers it the right thing to do, which makes Nora furious. This isn't time for an argument, though Nora realizes Tobias was right. The Troll King is coming home to the palace, and they need to stop it. While looking around the bones, Nora notices that UV light is damaging them, which means the stories were right about sunlight. They've seen the troll out during the day, but they haven't seen it under direct sunlight because of the clouds in the mountains. Andreas points out they can't control the sun, but Nora has a plan, and she calls Christopher to get his help. He will put up a unique trap while Nora and Andreas lure the troll to it. Meanwhile, the troll has arrived at the city, and once again, the military attacks do nothing to it, so Barrett approves the use of the missiles. Sigrid notices the leaders are getting ready to launch those missiles and calls Andreas to warn him, which means they have to look for a way to buy time. Andreas asks Sigrid to try to hack into the army's system to stop the launching, while Christopher is ringing the alarm system all over the city. This brings all his soldier friends to his location to help him with the trap. Sinding helps as well, asking the guards to put one of the troll's skulls on the most enormous truck they have, which Nora and Andreas will drive around the city to lure the troll away from the palace. It takes Sigrid a few tries to get into the system, but once she's in, she immediately stops the missiles, giving Nora and Andreas the time they need. When the troll comes closer, they finally take off and reveal the skull on the back of the truck, which causes the troll to roar in anger and go after them as planned. Nora calls Christopher to tell him they are on their way, prompting him to offer a motivational speech to his soldiers to keep them brave when the monster finally appears. After lots of crazy driving through the streets of Oslo, Nora and Andreas reach the highway only to accidentally lose the skull in the process. The troll stops running to pick it up, letting out a painful grieving groan for its children before it notices its reflection on a building. When it tries to touch the glass, it breaks, and the sudden shattering noise startles the troll, causing it to accidentally drop the skull, which breaks into a million pieces. Furious, the troll roars in pain, making Nora feel how sad it is over the last of its kind. The creature comes after them for revenge, and Nora goes back to the original plan of driving away, dodging all the destruction the troll is causing the best she can. At the base, Sigrid's hacking is discovered, and her computer is taken away so they can restart the system. Seconds later, Nora and Andreas make it to the area with the trap, so they jump out of the truck to finish luring the troll right to the center as it steps on the vehicle. The troll tries to step on Nora next, but at that moment, the soldiers activate dozens of UV lights surrounding the creature and start burning it. The plane with the missiles is coming closer too, but the pilot hesitates when he sees civilians on sight. An argument begins at the base to see if they should abort or not, inspiring Sigrid to punch the idiot that doesn't care about his citizens, and the operation is effectively aborted. Barrett and the other people at the base watch on their screen how the troll is slowly dying, and Christopher's soldiers are already celebrating the victory. However, Nora can't stand hearing and seeing a life suffer like this and turns off the power to save it. The soldiers get ready to shoot, but Nora stops them before approaching the troll the same way her father did, gently asking it to return to the safety of the mountains. The troll stares at her, considering her words, but before it can react, the sun begins to rise, and it burns the troll until there is nothing left but rubble. As everyone basks in their victory, Andreas jokes about what they should call this new monument or hill, and Nora decides it shall be the Tobias Boulder. When Barrett arrives a moment later, she thanks Nora for her work. Andreas reminds the Prime Minister that he quit and announces he'll be a writer. Then when he walks away with Nora, he wonders if there may be more creatures hidden in Dovre. Meanwhile, deep in the mountains, something is starting to move under a pile of rocks. You guys are fantastic if you have seen this far in the video. Thanks for watching. If our blockbuster recaps amuse you, please remember to ring the notification bell and the subscribe button. Thank you.